Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2024 release, We Are Zombies. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not big on zombie films. I think they're way overdone. I think there's way too many of them out there, and a lot of them just don't have anything new to say. They're not unique at all. But I did like this one. So this is kind of a rarity for me, and I think part of the reason for that being it's a zombie comedy. So there you go. If that's your type of thing, if horror comedies are your thing, or zombie films are your thing, or zombie comedies are your thing, I definitely would recommend going ahead and checking this one out. We Are Zombies. I actually ended up watching it for free through Fandango at home, so there are ads involved with that. It's also available for free on Tubi, so you can watch it there with ads as well. So you got to deal with those pesky ads, but I'm telling you, it is worth checking this one out for that. Directed by Francois Simard, Anouk Whissell, and Yoann-Karl Whissell. They did films like Turbo Kid, which I really enjoyed, and Summer of '84, which I enjoyed even more. They go by the film collective of RKSS. So if you know them, then you know pretty good pedigree. Written by Simard, Anouk Whissell, and Jerry Frissen. This is a French-Canadian co-production, just so people know. And Synopsis. It's a zombie comedy. So it's set in this kind of like, I don't necessarily want to say post-apocalyptic world, because it's a situation where zombies are kind of just a part of normal life in this film, where not everyone is a zombie, but there are plenty of zombies, and they're kind of like a class of citizen, the lowest form of class of citizen, and that's how people kind of treat them. So it's this kind of like push and pull within the film of like, should you be doing certain things to zombies? Are they really people? Like that whole thing. So I like that aspect that they set out in the film in the first place. And it's focusing primarily on this group of friends who are just trying to make money in this world. And basically what they're doing is they're posing as the people who come and clean up zombie situations, basically. So they kind of listen to the radios of the people who are supposed to do it. They show up, impersonate them, and get the money. They act like, oh, my card reader's not working. You're going to have to pay in cash. And then they get the money. Well, that ends up catching up with them at some point, and then they're in a sticky situation. And they get tasked with a big job, zombie-related, and it's all about, can they pull it off or can they not pull it off? And obviously there's a bunch of laughs in it because it's a zombie comedy. But anyway, that's the synopsis for you. I do think it has a pretty good ending to it. The story is solid. It's not your run-of-the-mill, crappy zombie story. Well, in some ways it kind of is, but I think one of the big things that really sets this film apart from a lot of other films, the characters. I think the characters are my favorite thing about this. Not only are the characters just interesting, they all have something a little bit different about them that you typically don't see in film. But they just, the way they're acted, there's so much life that gets breathed into these characters. So it's a combination between the actual writing of who the character is at its base, the actors, how they pull those roles off, but then also how the dialogue is written and how these characters end up interacting with each other. Really well-written dialogue, really well-written characters who have some legitimate depth. There is actual character development in this film for numerous characters, and that's what really drives this film for me personally, is the interesting characters and the interesting ways that they interact, and obviously part of that goes to the comedic elements of it. I do think that the opening scene of this film is quite funny and unexpected, and you'll see what I mean if you check it out. I knew going in, this is a zombie comedy, but I didn't know what type of zombie comedy and how much comedy are we talking and what type of comedy are we talking about. And it hits well and it hits immediately in this film, so it really does a good job of kind of setting the stage for what your expectations should be for A, the story, B, the world, and C, the type of comedy you're going to get. So if you're enjoying that opening scene, you're going to enjoy the rest of the film most likely. You quickly start to like the characters because they're well written, fun, and quirky. Yeah, that's another thing I should have said. They're quirky. A lot of quirky characters, which I'm a big fan of. I watch giallo films a lot. That's my comfort genre. So quirky characters is what I'm all about because there's always quirky characters in giallo films. The acting is quite good, and it feels like the actors had fun with their roles. That's another thing. There are definitely these times when you watch films and you're just like, I can tell that this actor's phoning it in. I can tell this actor doesn't want to be there. They're just trying to get the job done and get out that door. In this film, it seems like they were having a good time. Like, this is the type of film where you just visualize people hanging out, playing pranks, having fun, joking around when the camera's not rolling. So that's the type of vibe you get from what this film ended up being. The humor is good. I really did enjoy the humor. A few times I actually laughed out loud, which is something I don't typically do when I'm watching movies by myself, and I watch this one by myself. Although I think my wife could have enjoyed it to some degree. Not like full on been like, oh, I love it. Like she does Tucker and Dale versus Evil for some reason, but you know. At 80 minutes, they really keep things moving. Yes, it's an hour and 20-minute film, which was a smart idea. They didn't need to stretch it to an hour and a half. They took the time that they needed. Yeah, there were a few moments here and there where they could have clipped a little here, clipped a little there, but you don't really feel it like that. The pacing is really good. There's always something happening, and it just feels like they know how to just be like, okay, we're going here, now we're going here, now we're doing this, now we're doing... They progress story, and they don't get stuck. So many horror movies nowadays, especially lower budget independent horror movies, have a tendency to not feel like they know how to move the story forward and keep things moving. Now, the RKSS people obviously know how to make that happen. There are some pretty fun practical effects. That's the other thing. Practical effects are kind of a must with zombie films in general, and the grosser the better. There are some pretty good, fun, ridiculous, gross, funny practical effects in this one, especially towards the end. You know, a lot of films kind of do this, especially zombie films, where they save kind of like the big, grand, bloody finale for the end, and that's where all the practical effects really pop off. So that is no different for this film, and it's fun. There's some fun party vibes, action. Sorry, I should have finished that properly. There's some fun party vibes action at the end. I just got excited about party vibes, but yeah, there is, and you'll see what I mean by that, the party vibes aspect of it. So it's party vibes, and then it gets paired up with an action aspect of the film, and I don't want to go further into that because it would end up spoiling stuff about the film, and I just don't want to do that because I would recommend just checking this one out. And the ending, pretty good. It's not like a phenomenal ending for this film, and some of the stuff is a little bit predictable, but it's still a good ending. You legitimately care about the characters in this film and want to know where things end up and hope that things end well for all of them. So, yeah, I mean, I think you feel invested, and that makes sure that when you get to the end of the film, if you pull it off decently, people are going to feel a certain way. Either they're going to be upset about things because things don't go well for the characters that they're so invested in, or they're going to feel great about things because you get that nice bow tied on everything, and you're just like, okay, everyone's safe, everything's good. So I'm not going to tell you which way it goes, but I thought it was a good ending. So overall, out of 5 stars, half stars, and play, I'm going to give us a pretty solid 3.5-star rating. I think this one is definitely worth checking out, especially because, hey, it's free right now to watch. Fandango at home or Tubi, you can watch them either way for free if you don't mind dealing with ads. Otherwise, if you want to rent it through Fandango at home with no ads or buy it digitally there, you can do that too. I don't know. I'm not affiliated, by the way, or anything. I don't get anything from Fandango at home for talking about this stuff. But anyway, would love to hear your thoughts on this film. Go ahead and put it down in the comments, and we can talk spoilers there. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up for this video if you want to help me get traction with that YouTube algorithm. Support me, well, show me your support by subscribing to the channel. That's the free version of supporting me. If you want to support me monetarily, I also have memberships for my channel. There's a link in the description. You can check that out and see, what you get for a nominal fee each month. Notification bell button, also hit that if you want to know when I'm putting up new videos, because if you're watching videos soon after they hit the internet, then you can help with the traction. It's just a thing. I wish it wasn't, but it's a thing. Anyway, thank you so much regardless for taking your time to watch this video, and until next time, keep it brutal.